VLR.
This show is copyright by VLR Media. All opinions of panelists and guests are their own and may not reflect the opinion of VLR Media, the host, or anyone else.
Hello, and welcome to Battle for Freedom. I'm Watson Prunier, and I'm excited to have the show on Vigilant Liberty Radio. And you can call into the show at 412-567-6879. You can follow me on Twitter at Battle for Freedom X, and my website is www.battleforfreedom.com. Now, just want to let you know, we have a special guest and friend, I even call also a contemporary host, Mike Miller, who's on, and he'll be joining us on the show and offering us his great wisdom. Mike, you there?
I am here, man. I don't know about the great wisdom part, but yeah, I'm definitely here.
Well, I've always enjoyed what you shared, brother. It's always been encouraging to me, and I always appreciated how you offered me many opportunities to call into the show and share my opinions.
Thank you, man.
Here's a chance, because I know I'm appreciative for the people who are listening right now, but I want them to get a little bit of information about you, the Right Mics, because I tweeted on Twitter and on Facebook. But who are the Right Mics?
Hell if I know. Listen, seriously. I mean, I thought about this before when I put the Right Mics together. We're just a couple of irreverent knuckleheads who happen to pay attention to what's going on. We're political junkies. To an extent, we're analysts, at least in our own minds, and we comment as we see fit. But just a bit of real quick background. I'm the political editor of Independent Journal Review. That's ijreview.com. And IJ Review, one of the big guys on the block. Housem, one of our top writers. I love Michael Housem. So as you know, Watson, we both had our own shows on, as shall we call it, the previous network, as did you. And not long after I started my show, I began to have Housem on every Monday for the second hour. He and I were friends, obviously through IJR. And then ultimately, I was on the second hour of his show on Friday. And we kind of figured out along the way that as much as egotistical as we both are and love to talk and, crowd everyone else out, as you can tell as I'm speaking now, that the time we spent together on air was among our favorites. So, yeah, we just got together on VLR and put our show together, and the rest is history, as they say.
Well, I know when you guys are having fun, because you'll say something crazy, and Mike Housem will just bust out laughing. And I laugh when he's laughing because of the fact that he just really has a deep appreciation for something that you are saying directly or indirectly. And
I love it when he can't. Yeah, when he can't contain himself, man. When he just keeps laughing and loses his place. That's one of my favorite times on the show.
Oh yeah, that's when I know that you guys are having a lot of fun. And it's interesting because I really love the chemistry that you guys have, and you guys do that Monday through Friday. Of course, you're off for the next few days and not back on until next Monday. But on Monday nights at 10 p.m., I have the opportunity to co-host with a buddy of mine out of Houston. His name is Jason Wade Taylor, and the network is Quagmire Radio. We team up on Mondays, and we just have a great time at 10 p.m. And then he goes on by himself on Wednesdays at 10 p.m. as well. But I tell you, when I team up with him and I see how much fun that I'm having with Jason, I can have a deeper appreciation of hearing how you and Housem get together and have a great time, because it literally cracks me up every time.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, one of the things, again, pulling on the wisdom that you don't believe you have, we've seen a lot that's been happening in the news, all the protesting that's going on, and one of the terms, you've seen me do graphics about it, this term white privilege. What's your thought on the term white privilege?
Oh man, my friend, we could talk about that for an hour in and of itself. I mean, does it exist? You know, yeah, some places for sure. On the other hand, yeah, I've thought about this as I've written through the years and talked the last couple of years. When it comes to certain issues, I mean, what comes to mind? Entrance to universities, hiring, and you know me and I know you. We're friends. I mean, had my own financial planning firm, which when you're in that business, you go through a broker dealer. We were given, I mean, years ago. No, after affirmative action, we were given by the broker dealer, who shall go nameless. Let's don't call them quotas, but let's call them objectives. But as it related to how many people of color, minorities, and including women, that if I hired for my firm, we'd get a bonus from the broker dealer. And as I said, this is a long time before affirmative action. I mean, does it exist? Maybe. But I just think, look, dude, I mean, you look from Barack Obama on down. I think it exists, frankly, on all colors of the rainbow, if you will.
Exactly. Okay, and I like that, because one of the things that when I hear the term, oftentimes I don't care for the term, because of the fact that one, it's insinuating that white people always have the better advantage
Exactly.
than blacks in everything. They'll always have the advantage. They'll always have the advantage. And one of the things that kind of annoys me in this is, okay, let's say for argument's sake, it's true. They have the advantage in everything. That you have the first dibs at this pie, that pie, whatever. Well, I'm of the mentality, Mike. Well, if the pie is already taken and there's no opportunity to really grab at that, why don't you go out and create your own pie?
Well, exactly. And another way to put what you're saying is, that liberals believe there is a finite amount of pie, and without even having to. Well, your analogy is good as well, but another way I like to put it is liberals look at everything in society, including employment and everything else, as a zero-sum game. Anything that anyone gets, rich people, doesn't matter what color they are, wealthy people, privileged people, regardless of color, anything that anyone gets more than the left thinks they should implies to them that there's not enough left for everyone else. And, of course, the alternative argument to that is we live in an abundance society, an abundance mentality. Anybody that works hard, that, the proverbial pulls themselves up by the bootstraps, who goes out and says, I own what I do and I am what I am. There is abundance in this country like no other country in the history of the planet.
And so then let me move to the next question is, then what are your thoughts on this idea that's usually pimped out from liberal progressives about the disenfranchised?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, is there a basis for this argument?
Well, again, it's a simple question. It's a complex question if you dig into it, which requires a complex answer, which, we don't have time to go completely into. But first of all, let's define the term, right? Being disenfranchised, denied a right, a privilege, or a power that others have. And again, I go back to when you have a black president elected twice, which could not have happened, by the way, without substantive white support. I mean, where do you go from there? You go down the list. I mean, listen, to be fair, for sure, millions of people in this country who may be, to use the term liberally, disenfranchised. I disagree with the term, but the question is, And I think this is critical. How many people, Watson, disenfranchise themselves?
Good question.
And look, in America, anybody is an individual. I don't care if you're black, white, purple, chartreuse. I don't even know what color that is, but I've used it for years. Glow in the dark, it makes no difference. If you want to succeed, obviously to your abilities, you can. And to blame it on someone else, everything else, to me, is it borders on obscene because I think it supports the saying, the expectation of the low expectation of bigotry. I just don't buy it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know one of the things that I don't like, even when we try and have the conversation, when we try and communicate, whether it's people on the left, it's progressives or blacks or whites or whomever, there's this idea, with we talked about white privilege earlier, and you had that student at a university who was beaten up and was attacked, and basically excused his attackers because of white privilege, and so there's this mentality even in electing the president, even in electing the first black president, it seems like. So my question is, does white America or the U.S. government owe black America something?
I,
And when yeah, go ahead.
well, I mean, listen. The only thing that the government allows us is to get the hell out of the way, and I say that somewhat tongue in cheek, but definitely. And here's what the government of this country owes us: equal opportunity.
Yeah.
And therein lies the problem. I mean, I don't know how familiar you are with F.A. Hayek. He's a famous Austrian economist, long gone. But he famously said decades ago, and on my personal blog, I have this permanently affixed on the front page. There is all the difference in the world between equal opportunity and equal results. And what this country is about right now, again, from Barack Obama on down, and I blame him, is it's about equal results. You see it in wealth redistribution. And again, I don't give a damn what color someone is. You see it in wealth redistribution, and you see it in this dialogue going on, which, listen, it started with the Trayvon thing. It's gotten to the point now where it's just at a fever pitch. But no, this government owes people equal opportunity. It needs to do everything it can to ensure that. But dude, when it gets to equal results, no.
And that's a problem because with your equal results is and okay, there's this entitlement mentality, and again, a lot of people get offended when you say entitlement because
What's
they believe
true?
that you're trying to be derogatory towards blacks, but then at the same on the other end, like what the in the clip that Martin Luther King we talked about last week, when we played that, he talked about how, the government didn't give black America the land that they were promised, but they gave it to white Europeans. And so, we kind of, so people bring in the topic of reparations and all these different things that the government owes black people, but
Sure.
yet they made efforts to pay other people.
And
They
and,
made
and listen. Again, let's remove color from the issue.
Yeah,
When you talk about entitlements, I mean, just look at the federal budget. Look at entitlements. Those entitlements are going more of those entitlements are going to white people than black people. So entitlement knows no color. But
yeah.
exactly right. When you get into that mentality that the government owes you, the government should. Not pay for your your Obama phone necessarily, but the government owes you. The government should redistribute wealth. The government should take care of you from cradle to grave. Blah 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 blah. I mean, you're looking at the failed states of Europe. I mean, listen, wealth redistribution, socialism. Let's be honest. Someone give me an example. I'm still waiting of a period in the history of this planet where that has ever worked to the benefit of the society and frankly to the benefit of the government long term. Has never happened.
Yeah, and people don't seem to understand. It's not the government and I like how you said this earlier. It's the government's job to get the heck out of the way. It's the private sector that creates the businesses. If the government wants a role in it, be a mediator rather than a controller.
Well, yeah, and this notion that and listen again. To be fair, Republicans and Democrats alike. Presidents, we created this many jobs. We created that many jobs.